And welcome in, everybody, to this edition of the Coffee and Sports Talk Show. I am your host, Andrew Scheid, and it's lovely to be here with you guys. And with me always is our producer, Nick Johnston. How are we doing today, Nick?
Doing fantastic. Ready to rock and roll for another solid episode today, Andrew. Can't wait. We're in my neck of the woods talking a little wrestling today.
That is right. What are we talking about? Well, something really interesting in the form of the Elimination Chamber. And why are we talking Elimination Chamber? That just happened this past weekend. It actually took place in our neck of the woods, Nick.
Yep.
And to start out a little about that, it took place at the United Center. First event for WWE at the United Center in a while. Nick,
Yep.
I'm not sure how long it's been. Can you elaborate on that?
First live show there. Oof. Probably. I don't even know if I don't know if they've ever had. It's been a long time for sure since a house show. The last house show there was like 2018 when Elias was still there, when Brock Lesnar was still there, when Corporate Kane was still part of the roster. So it's been some time since they've had since WWE's been over at the United Center. But as we know, AEW had their big collision episode that brought back CM Punk, and that was at the United Center. So that's you got some pretty, obviously, we got our basketball history, we got our hockey history there, but some good wrestling moments there over at the UC.
Right, and they were actually able to sell out the United Center, and there were actually some big name in attendance. Giannis Antetokounmpo was
Yeah,
the
saw
hair.
that.
He was one of the guys there, but there were just some big names in attendance there. Um, w- I have a question for you, Nick. Before
Yeah.
we break this down, bringing an event like Elimination Chamber to Chicago, it's one of the bigger events in WWE.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the city?
It's always a big thing there for sure. It was never like an official thing, but ever since WWE went from going to doing WrestleManias in big stadiums and big, like I said, big football arenas and stuff like that. Actually, Chicago, the Allstate Arena, was the last arena WrestleMania. So I think there was kind of like an under the table kind of handshake with the WWE and like the city of Chicago, where they kind of go, hey, you might not get a WrestleMania until you build another stadium. Which, come on, Bears, get to it. But they did kind of give this underground, I think, this under the handshake deal of like, hey, you might not get a WrestleMania for some time, but you're going to get at least one pay-per-view and some really big like SmackDowns and Raws throughout the year. So it always is a huge time and a big opportunity for wrestling to come to Chicago, because besides obviously having the big names, having the LA Knights come to town and do meet and greets, and having Penta go to your local cricket and do a free meet and greet, it is a really big opportunity for the smaller independent wrestling companies to come in, have to run shows around this time all throughout the city and stuff like that. So it's always really cool. Like I said, just wrestling kind of just brings people together no matter what.
I mean, yeah, and that's the big thing. And one big thing for me this weekend was I was able to watch it at home
Nice.
for free. It was on ESPN for free, the whole event, which is awesome because we know that WWE is starting to go
ESPN, you have the
Unlimited,
ESPN
yeah.
Unlimited. Okay,
yeah, that's how I was able to watch it.
Gotcha.
Um,
That's
But to start breaking this down, and for the first segment, we're going to break down both chamber matches, Nick. I feel like, and I don't know if you went back and watched some of the highlights from the matches this past weekend, but I feel like the women put together a better show than the men did. I don't know how you feel about
that seems to be the consensus across the board. Everyone that I'm kind of talking to, I have yet to fully dive in and watch from beginning to end, just because I haven't. I was coming back from a replay gig when the Elimination Chamber was happening, so I was only getting updates through Twitter and through my friend Scotty, who was texting me kind of stuff like that. But yeah, I've heard that the women's match seemed more put together. It seemed like there was less what we would call a botch, which is a flubber in the ring, a mix up in the ring. It seems like there was less of that. There was definitely less mid in the middle of the ring injuries because Javon Evans just landed right on his head thanks to Logan Paul. So I think it was really nice. Women put on a solid match, and I think it really it pushed forward the storyline because I don't know if if you're keeping up a full go around, but this was to go ahead and become the next person to be the number one contender for Jade Cargill's title, which she's a little bit on the she's much taller. She's got a insane crazy physique, like bodybuilder physique. So, realistically, you got to put her up against, well, a gal that's you would think that is just as capable. And I think Rhea Ripley coming out on top and winning like she did, that's going to be a perfect matchup for the two.
Yeah, and I was actually just going to ask you that question. How did you feel about Rhea Ripley coming out the winner? And I was actually surprised, and I'll tell you this, because when she did that one last move off the top rope, and you could tell she completely wrecked her back on that move.
That last rip.
So I was a little concerned that she might not come out the winner, but it ended up happening. Was there anyone that you would think in that match would have been a good contender to possibly take that away from her? That was close to taking it away from her, I should say.
Let me think really quick. Because I know Kiana James started off as well as I believe as well as Tiffany Stratton. So that was a pretty good, like almost trying to go wire to wire for Stratton. Yeah, if it wasn't Rhea, I think Tiffany probably would have been the right move. It would have been kind of a little too close to considering Jade Cargill was the one to take that belt off of Tiffany Stratton. But I mentioned this before over on our other show. I'll shamelessly plug Bad Karma Wrestling. We'll be recording those live every Friday right here on the Bad Karma Wrestling YouTube page. That, Tiffany kind of needs a little bit of a character reset. And I think this kind of was the right move for her. Not a complete makeover necessarily. She doesn't need to go from her blonde Barbie style to, goth girl or something like that, goth badass. But that kind of she needs to kind of hit the reset and actually give us some character to herself, and not just, oh, I'm here, I'm ready to win, and I have a fun attitude or something like that. So like I said, right move overall with the women's chamber. And if you wanted to do a pivot, I think Tiffany would have been a solid move regardless.
Oh, I completely agree. And like I said, the woman did put on a great show that night. I expected to see a little more outside the ring, but that's just me.
Oh, not in the chamber. That's the whole point of it.
Okay, but here's the thing with that. It all stayed inside the matted part of the ring. A lot of it didn't happen outside of that. That's what I was saying.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I was misinterpreting. No, there was outside interference in the other chamber, so I was like kind of like, okay, that's weird. Go ahead.
There's one. Now I want to shift gears. Talk about the men's chamber, which wasn't that much. Like, they didn't do much. That's the best way I could put it. They didn't do much. There are some good things that I know your feelings on the Paul brothers, Nick, but Logan Paul, people say he's starting to become like one of those WWE superstars. I feel like he's trying to cement that more with the 3 pins he had during the Elimination Chamber. What do you think about the men's performance in the chamber this weekend?
Yeah, some big takeaways for sure in that men's chamber. First off, if you go back and if you're just curious, you're like, hey, I didn't catch anything, maybe I watched some highlights on WWE YouTube. If you were looking to see any LA Knight highlights, there isn't a millisecond of him. You can tell. Triple H can sit right in front of me and say, hey, we don't have anything against LA Knight, and it just wouldn't be truthful. There's no way that this guy doesn't have something that they're holding up. I don't know. They hate him. It's as simple as that.
Like Triple H is, I want him out. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we gotta start somewhere. Yeah. Right?
And maybe the only way he has to have some sort of blackmail on somebody just to even be in the building anymore. But man, oh man, they do not like him over there. But whatever. Again, mentioning Logan Paul kind of having a performance. I think the big one, and that was also the thing. They literally showed the mess up of Logan Paul having Javon Evans land on his head. They showed that before they showed any LA Knight highlights. So again,
let's show Logan Paul messing it up before we actually show someone else doing
Yeah.
something good,
so
because
if
that's
there's
better
yeah,
content.
so the conspiracy of they may or may not like LA Knight is there's definitely some legs there. That's all I really have to say for that part. But of course, the big highlight is McIntyre comes in towards the end, tries to get in there with Logan. I think that ends up being he ends up hitting Logan on accident. They take out Logan, and then here comes the masked man. Here comes that masked man once again. Bang! It's Seth Rollins,
another Chicago native, which is why I think they tied him in there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit has some Midwestern background for sure. He claims the Bears as his own, so that's always cool to see. But yeah, that's the return of Seth Rollins is what was the big hullabaloo, and that later turned into obviously Randy Orton being the Viper, the sneaky snake that he is, getting the RKO out of nowhere, and a bit of a surprise because everyone was kind of seeing it cut and dry. They're like, okay, Rhea wins the Elimination Chamber, that'll make sense. Cody Rhodes going to win the Men's Chamber, but no, nice little switch up.
And here's the thing I want to ask you about that. Everyone was shocked that it wasn't Cody Rhodes, because let's think about this. Cody Rhodes is kind of one of those one wrestlers left from my childhood that hasn't retired yet. And Elimination Chamber is the one thing missing from his resume when you look at it. So that I think that's why everyone was thinking that Cody Rhodes was going to come out the men's champion.
I think the only thing else, if he has yet to participate in one. He hasn't won a Money in the Bank yet, so he hasn't won the Chamber.
Okay,
and he hasn't won a Money in the Bank. He has, like I said, he's participated obviously in the Chamber just now. I think that might have been his first one. If it wasn't that, that's the American Nightmare's first version. Maybe Dashing Cody Rhodes was in there. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that he needs a little bit to get that, like, to check off all the bingo boxes of everything he's done so far in the WWE. But yeah, like I said, that was a nice little switch up. As can't go too predictable on this. They're adding a little bit of a wrench. Come Friday night, we're gonna see Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed title, and that may determine who Randy Orton's opponent is, whether that is going to turn into a singles match like people are saying it's just going to be straight up McIntyre or Rhodes versus Orton, or does this turn into a triple threat, or do we open the door and let Jacob Fatu as well at this table and have a fatal four-way?
Right.
A lot of options heading into WrestleMania.
Right. And that's the thing of where Cody Rhodes can still punch his ticket to WrestleMania in some way.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the men could have put on a better show. It wasn't as competitive as the women's Elimination Chamber. Any last thoughts on the chamber matches this weekend? But that wasn't all that happened, and we're going to talk about that after the break. But
of course,
any last thoughts on the chamber matches this weekend, Nick?
No, I think just the chamber matches itself. I watched this video. I heard this guy I forgot the name of the YouTube page that put it up, but they were kind of making this argument that the chamber kind of has lost its lore a little bit, where it used to be, the big heated rivalry between multiple people. You know what? Let's solve this. Elimination Chamber, bang. And now it's kind of turned into, it's February. Well, we need an Elimination Chamber now. So I can see both ways of, it's lost a little bit of its touch, but it is still a good match. You need to put a little bit more violence in there. I feel it doesn't need to be obviously, let's bring in the tacks and the glass and the tables and the fire, but there needs to be a little bit more than just, hey, there's that padded mat that's just outside that used to be made out of metal. So I think the chamber's pretty solid. So let's solid. It was okay. It was okay. It needs to get better.
All right. When we come back, we're going to be talking the other part of Elimination Chamber weekend. And that was the matches between CM Punk, which he won, and then AJ Lee, his wife, who also won. So we will be talking about those matches when we come back after this quick little break. Mics are hot. Welcome back, everybody. And my name is Andrew Scheid. I'm here for Coffee and Sports. This is a lovely sports talk show that I just love being a part of. But before we get back into this Elimination Chamber discussion I'm having with Nick Johnston from Illinois Media School, we have to pass on our condolences to the Fighting Irish, Notre Dame, and the family of Notre Dame head football coach Lou Holtz, who unfortunately has passed away today at the age of 89. It just really one of those legends in my eyes when it comes to college coaching. Nick, do you have any thoughts before we move on here on that little tidbit?
No, just of course, super. Don't like hearing any news like that. 89 years old. That's a hell of a life right there. I personally I don't see him as the head coach of Notre Dame because that's just not. I wasn't young enough to see that. I do see him as the ESPN analysis.
That's how I see him too. I will be honest. Yeah.
So if anything, I don't want to make big jokes about this, but Ryan Day, you might need an alibi today. I know you were on that side. No joke. All jokes aside, it's always upsetting to hear something like that. But the trade-off of this, in this day and age where people are so toxic online, you do see when a guy passes like this, you get to see all his favorite moments from on the field, from off the field. Just you get some really nice compilations, some really nice thank yous, and some really nice basically just short of I love you videos from different people online. So it's really cool to see that. So yeah, it does suck, but reminisce online, talk to some people, and then just as always, say you love your loved ones. So there you go.
Yeah. Now to get into it. There was more than just the Elimination Chamber that happened this weekend, Nick, and it was some defending title matches, both for CM Punk and AJ Lee. CM Punk in his hometown came out the winner. That's not what struck me, though. Like, surprise, he won, right?
No.
Yeah, no, surprise, he won, right? No. But here's what really, tugged at my heartstrings being from Chicago. He comes out, walks out to the Bulls theme song, and I have to be honest, he's probably was thinking in his head like a kid in the candy store, right?
Yeah,
to be in the United Center and walk out to that theme.
Well, it's pretty fitting. CM Punk coming out to the Bulls theme song, just like the Bulls. CM Punk hasn't been relevant since 2011, so I thought it was pretty fitting. Me personally, but that's just me. I know everyone came out there to celebrate him and to see him. So he is on the back nine of his in-ring career, but he can still talk on the mic, so he can hold his own there. Is he selling tickets? Is he selling merch? Yes, of course. Is he old CM Punk that I knew and loved when I was growing up and watching him in, Summer of Punk and Ring of Honor into his 2006 run? Nah, those days are over with.
I was about to say that those are my days.
Yeah, those days are over with, but we're still getting somewhat. We're getting peachy Punk. We're getting Phil, but that's okay. That's all right.
Here's the thing I'm going to say about this match, Nick, is it does not surprise me CM Punk came out the winner. What surprised me is how many times he came close in my head not becoming the winner.
Yeah.
There were so many times I thought that he was going to get pinned, and sorry, I cannot say his name right. Finn Balor was his opponent, and formidable opponent. And you know more about the current WWE than I do, Nick. Tell us a little about Finn Balor and how he got here to this match against CM Punk.
Gotcha. Yeah, Finn Balor. He's been a fan favorite for quite some time, and it started with his run in New Japan that later on led to him having such a big stretch and good run in Ring of Honor, and then brought him to the stage that was WWE. That started again. Humongous and really good run in NXT as the World Heavyweight Championship there. In 2013, I believe he gets his first World Heavyweight title, but is cut short because of a shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember off the top of the dome, but he got injured severely, had the title stripped of him, and hasn't really been in the world heavyweight title picture since. A little bit of teases here and there, but never really the guy. So he's kind of teasing like he's probably going to end up leaving the Judgment Day, and which kind of led him to being this alpha male, getting the #1 contendership shot, and then later on, of course, losing to CM Punk. But we're going to see a little bit, more oomph to Finn Balor's character, and I think the fans have really been liking it.
And that's what I liked about it too. Let's talk about. He came into this match like, I'm gonna beat CM Punk. He was so sure of himself.
Would you have any other mindset other than, I'm going to beat the guy in front of me?
I'm going to beat this guy in front of his hometown crowd. I have to ask this question. Do you think that affected Finn Balor's performance? And I know that we know this is scripted and all that, but they still have to put on a good show.
Oh, of course.
And them hitting each other is not fake. Let's be honest about that. This is why there's so long in between matches.
Oh yeah, no, I would think that there was still some added, in terms of just wanting to do well, no matter what, no matter who. This was still a big thing for both Finn and for CM Punk to have such a really big match for them two in such a big arena, in a sold out crowd, and just in a really well put together wrestling crowd, wrestling city. You always want to kind of put your best foot forward in a town like Chicago or Philadelphia or New York. Like, those are really big wrestling cities. So I think that, whether it was, like you just said, predetermined, that doesn't really have any sort of like factor in the sense of like, they always still want to go out and perform well.
Right. Now to shift gears, Nick, and we've been talking about it a little bit, CM Punk's other half, as in AJ Lee, also won a title.
Yes.
Took it from Becky Lynch this weekend in her home away from home, as she likes to call it. What does this mean for the two of them now, having those titles? What does all this mean?
I mean, this has to be the power couple of the WWE now. Am I not mistaken? I mean, what was once Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch having exactly the same thing, having the world heavyweight title around Rollins, having the IC title around Becky Lynch, or I think Becky had the women's world title at that time. But I think you kind of have to, substitute them for now being the power couple of the WWE, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. And people like to say that Chicago is AJ Lee's second home. I like to say home away from like she married CM Punk, which that's where he is from. But
I don't want to be weird about it either. But they like high-fived in the ring. Like, I'm not asking for Edge and Lita. They're gonna go have live intercourse on Raw, but you can like kiss her. Like, it's okay. She's not your buddy. They basically just showed a fist bumped when they were out there.
And I get that CM Punk at the end of his match had it was a bloody mouth. I get that too, but it's like, you're both wrestlers. You shouldn't be used to this.
If you're AJ, you would have got in there. You sicko. Come on, get in there.
Oh god!
I know, it's fair. I'm not like needing or wanting that, but I did find that a little funny. Like, just like basically just dap up your your
okay. That was just a weird thing of it, and like I said, no surprise that they both won, right?
Yeah.
But do they hold on to these titles for very long? Is the question, and that's really a question I pose to you.
Yeah.
Because we do know all these matches are scripted. So how long do you think that CM Punk and AJ Lee maintain this power couple in the WWE, as you put it?
I believe personally that the way that this Roman versus CM Punk storyline is headed to Mania, and just the way that it fell through, or not fell through, but the way that it was carried out on Raw the following Monday, this is kind of looking like Roman's going to capture the title again at WrestleMania. AJ Lee, I believe She probably retains come Mania, and then maybe afterwards probably loses the title, probably the next show after that, and then slowly kind of fades away, and then she'll come back again as she has been. They've been doing a really good job with AJ Lee and handling her in the sense that she's not out there every week. She's not there going, having matches against really young talent where they might not know what she's doing, and AJ Lee might not be in the right space to call a match. So giving, only having her back for like 5 matches now and having Becky Lynch be a part of 2 or 3 of them, I think that's a really smart move for WWE to slowly, like I said, kind of like hide the bad sides of AJ Lee and maybe her downside and but still showing what she still does well. So yeah, long way of me saying, like I said, AJ Lee probably retains and holds on, but come WrestleMania, the way that this storyline's heated up, and it's it's shaping up pretty nicely. I think Roman probably beats CM Punk at Mania.
Yeah. And that's what I want to ask you. Well, I'm going to put up a collage of different pictures from this past weekend at Elimination Chamber here. I do want to ask you, Nick, that we have upcoming matches of CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. How do we see those matches shaping out at WrestleMania?
That's really good. It's a really good question. I was actually going to pose this on Friday of those 4 matches, of those 4 world heavyweight title matches, both 2 on the men's side, 2 on the women's side, like which one is coming together the best? And honestly, I'm going to throw in a dark horse. I think Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer has the potential to steal the show both in ring wise and storyline wise, because they're really shaping up, Liv Morgan she was trying to be like that timid little, like, oh, I'm sorry for being, I didn't realize all the, all the stuff that you had to go through. But in the sense of like, she's also, making fun of her. She's like, oh, while I was in WWE, you were wrestling in mud huts. Like, I feel so bad for you. Like, oh, while I was getting pampered and making millions of dollars, you were, wrestling in a garage somewhere. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. So I feel like that storyline can real bubble over, and you can see a side of Stephanie Vaquer that we haven't seen. In that same light, maybe shine a really good light on Liv Morgan and see a character or something that we haven't seen from her. So Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Jade's been wrestling now for close to 5 years on TV, and she's just still as robotic as can be. There's just nothing saving that gal. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. There's just nothing saving her. So Rhea and Jade, if that goes longer than 7 minutes, I'll be very surprised. Liv and Vaquer, I think, steal the show. On the men's side, Punk and Roman are going to be the way to go.
Yeah. I feel like that's going to be a match everyone is going to be paying attention to, for the simple fact of who's going up against who in that match.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 2, in my mind, 2 heavyweights in CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And, we're going to have to see, like we said, how that Cody Rhodes match plays out. He could still punch his ticket to WrestleMania. Do I think he does after losing Elimination Chamber the way he did? I really think he does. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think he does.
Because you're not going to have Cody Rhodes not on the card in some capacity. Like, he's got to be there. And if he is, he's going to be in the main event, whether that is him by himself versus Randy or as a multi-man match. Because everyone's also on the side of, oh, Drew's going to drop the title and then he's going to face Nick Aldis. I mean,
okay.
I personally, as a wrestling fan, I know Nick Aldis because I've gone outside the 4 walls of WWE. But a lot of WWE fans don't do that.
No, they don't look at AEW. They don't look at all those. Right?
No, they have no idea what AEW is. They don't know what Ring of Honor is, or New Japan, or NWA. They're gonna hear, oh, Nick Aldis was the NWA World Champion. He was tag champs with Ice Cube. Like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, like they don't know what all that is. Yeah,
they have no idea. So it's gonna be fun to see how this kind of plays out. But I mean, exactly that. We are on the road to WrestleMania. This is where it all starts. This is where it begins, and see how it
Right.
plays out. It's gonna be fun.
And in my opinion, WrestleMania is going to be fun this year. I can't wait to watch it. Any final thoughts on where WrestleMania is going to be going for you? What you want to see?
Oh man, just give me something really good for the sickos. Whether that's like a tag team match, like a multi-man tag team match that just goes crazy or something like that. Give me something. Just give me something good to eat.
Right. Well, everyone, I would like to thank you for joining us for this special WWE Elimination Chamber recap episode of Coffee and Sports here. I'm Andrew Scheid. He's Nick Johnston for Illinois Media School, the On Air Network, and Sportstown Chicago. Hope everyone has a wonderful night, and we'll see everybody later.